On the 19th of February 2020, the residents of Blackheath, Cape Town gathered to discuss a seemingly never-ending concern regarding who is responsible for the completion of the Buttskop Railway four-way crossing and how exactly the planning around this perilous level crossing was progressing. It has been now more than 3 years under construction to complete less than only 200 meters of road, construction and surfacing. No electrical development and no signaling work was needed. This intersection carries between 600 and 900 cars, light delivery vehicles and heavy-duty trucks into the Blackheath residential and commercial industrial area every hour around peak time. On the 25th of August 2010, at around 7 a.m. in the morning, no less than 10 primary school children lost their lives in a horrific accident involving a school minibus taxi and a train. 8 years later, another 7 lives were sadly snuffed out under the same conditions at the same level crossing, with one newspaper headline reading, "What was the driver thinking?" Today, the residents of Blackheath, Cape Town beg the same question of those who are paid generous salaries to ensure that our roads, especially the now infamous crossing, is at least as safe and of the same safety standard of the immediate and more affluent surrounding areas. Their responses here documented were as expected. And as we have now become accustomed to, they shifted the blame, placing the onus on each other, chief of which was Eskom, who was not represented on the day. After this meeting, at the corner of the yet unfinished four-way crossing, I was asked by Mr. Johan Meyer and Mr. Brendan Johnson to hold back on posting the video on YouTube for a chance for them to clarify their statements. Their statements will follow the first section of this video. I have not edited this to ensure that there is no misquoting of particular parties. The only gap in the recording was for me to change the batteries.
Okay, then I think maybe we should just start. And is that Hein Ever? Is that Hein?
That's Hein.
Yeah. Is that Hein? Okay. Okay, so I mean we've been standing here for quite a while. You could see the challenges of first of all that this road is illegally used. They just shifted stuff that was used. Obviously it's a frustration of the detour that they've got to use. And our concern is the time frame that it's taking to complete this project. I'm not sure what time frame was given.
Sorry.
When it was supposed to finish. Please. So let me also just first say thank you, Johan, for organizing the site meeting. I think that was important for us. It's one thing on paper, it's another thing if you visually see what is happening here. So I'm really grateful that in such short notice we were able to get some people together to come. And also to the traffic officer, I didn't expect him, but I mean, he could use his voice and just speak to the people of using the road. So Hein, I know that you're the contractor we spoke the other day. What our concern is the length of period that this project is taking. And I'm sorry that I have to say this, but things like this would not be allowed in your more affluent areas. We that live in this area is frustrated with the way the job is being done, and it's with all due respect to everyone that is involved. This meeting is not a blaming meeting. Who's going to take the blame? What we want as residents is answers in terms of why Eskom gets away with not removing that pole after they have been, according to my knowledge, I may be wrong, been paid long ago to remove it. In an email that I received, the city is now suggesting that they will remove it and then fight it out with Eskom in terms of who's going to pay. Now that is not our thing, they've got to sort it out. What we are interested in is why is it taking so long? If you see what's happening here now, there's a stop street going to be here and one diagonally across the road, which is where your industrial motorist is going to come. We're talking of trucks and cars and everything.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Morning.
Yeah.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
Fine.
Johan van het
Lennis en naam van IT.
counselor. Sorry.
Okay. So there's
Just before you,
Okay.
before we go on to the actual layout
Yeah.
and that type of thing, is that did anybody invite an ESCOM representative to this? That is from my. I'm just asking, right? Because
Okay.
remember now, here's the city's representative.
Yeah.
This is the city's consultant, and I'm the contractor.
Yeah.
Right. The actual person that needs to answer for this is ESCOM.
I disagree with you, Han, but let's not go in terms of who is
No,
here
but
and who's not
the thing
here,
is,
yeah.
but we have to.
Okay.
But we have to, because the thing is, you are concerned. Your concern is why hasn't it been moved,
Okay.
right? That is your concern.
Okay.
Now we have done our due diligence. We've had meetings with Johan before. We've had meetings with ESCOM. We've been here. We've done our part a year ago, almost 2 years ago. We've done our part, right? Now ESCOM needs to answer for this.
Okay, Hein, let me just finish, because you know what? As a resident, I need to contact the city of Cape Town. The city contracted you. Yes. The city contracted ESCOM or whoever the case. It's not me as a resident. I don't know anybody in ESCOM. So I think that is very unfair to think that I have to invite. That should have been the city arranging the site meeting to say these are all the role plays. We don't even have somebody here from traffic
Stakeholders.
calming. That for me is a concern. I know Sean Glass very well. Somebody should have been here. The person who arranged the site meeting, with all due respect, should have made sure. I mean, we had to agree on in terms of the diary date.
There we go.
So if somebody had not, now I can't see who all confirmed. I confirmed, and then that is off my radar. So whoever had sent that email, and I think in this case it was Johan Meyer, should have said there must be somebody from traffic, somebody from ESCOM, somebody from. It's not to me to invite.
No.
So yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Because the thing is that was my first question.
No,
was
no,
that,
I'm-
you know,
yeah.
I mean, we are just as concerned, because the thing is, I mean, I have got guys working in the area that they come and try and do stuff,
Okay.
and they also getting threatened.
All right, so
Um,
shall we just go down the line in terms
Yeah.
of at the questions and then because we're going to cross, there's going to be a dialogue to and fro, we're not going to get to the point. Yeah.
Fair enough, but
So,
the
yeah.
thing is, the concern, my main concern is we want to get it off. We want to give you something that is usable, that is going to be done. That is done,
Yeah.
right? Now, I mean, the main culprit. Let's call it that. The main culprit is ESCOM, and they're not here to say, you know, why not?
Okay, but you know what, I'm going to reiterate what I said. ESCOM is not here, and my beef is not with ESCOM. It's not for me to say ESCOM should have been here, or why are they not here, so it means we can cancel this meeting. That's not it. The city has got to take responsibility of all the role players that they have. And in terms of ensuring, and they've got to give the answers, why ESCOM is not here yet, what are they going to do about it, what time frame are we going to get this project completed, because obviously then you and the city has got to be in liaison with one another. We are just here as residents, you know, and I think we need to understand that. I said from the beginning, this is not going to be a name blaming. None of us here is here for grandstanding or wanting to take credit. People are complaining and nobody's doing anything about it. So it's good to have the consultants, it's good to have Lynn here and the role players, but as you say, in absence of a traffic calming officer, or not traffic calming officer, but let's say the official, and in absence of ESCOM, I'm going to turn to Johan, that he's got to give me the answers. Because
Can I maybe just quickly come in? Thank
Okay.
you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that all of you are here today. As I've said on numerous occasions at the sub-council, and I'm saying it again today, there are three different issues at Buttskop. The one is the level crossing illumination project, for which I'm the project leader, and that entails ultimately building a bridge across the railway line, for which we've completed the prelim design, for which we're currently going into detailed design phase, and we are doing what we can to get budget to eliminate this level crossing. And that's my job, and that's my priority. In addition to that, there's two other issues at Buttskop, and they are all with different departments. The one that I refer to, the level crossing elimination, is with the planning department. I'm from the planning department and we've done a lot of work there. The one that relates to the construction project, in other words, everything we've spoken so far this morning is in a different department than I am. We are not even in the same department. That's a department that's responsible for infrastructure construction, and that is where Brendan Johnson, and I don't want to blame, I just want to say please bear with me. Brendan apologized today. He said he can't attend. He's got to drop off his kids at school. For me, it's not good enough, but I'm not here to blame. I'm just saying, please take that into account. That this project includes different departments, and the construction project is Brendan's department's responsibility. I'm doing what I can to mobilize them, but they're not here today. The other department that's the third department involved here, it's also a different department, is of network management, network operations. That's Sean Glass that you referred to. They have seen the invite. I'm not sure why nobody from network management is here, but it's happening all the time that this project is complicated. There's three departments involved, but in the end it's one department that ends up taking the flak, if I can put it that way. I just want to say we'll do whatever we can, and so I'm not excusing myself from any responsibility. I'll do what needs to be done. I'll talk to them once again, and I'm not shifting it to anybody else. I'm just saying, please take that into account, that you focus your issues on the relevant department.
So if I may,
Yes, of course.
so if I may ask something. Hi there, everybody. My name is Wesley Lewis. I'm a resident of Blackheath. I live in James Street, and I'm also a business owner as well. I've been taking my kids to school for the past 8 or 9 years now already, and the challenges that has arisen from this three-way stop and now currently this whole setup over here is really disconcerting. I want to echo the sentiments of the gentleman over there, and where I think that the real sticky point over here is the fact that we are being sent as residents of Blackheath and the greater area, where we are being sent from pillar to post, Peter to Paul, saying no, this one is to blame, because I spoke to Mr. Roloff Marie about it in passing about this whole crossing, and he said it is Eskom. Now and then some say it's the contractors, others say it's the city of Cape Town, So I think that what needs to happen is that there needs to be a forum that is created where even if it's in a group email, where all the players are included in that included in that forum, and given a chance to at the very least give a report or a bit of an update as to the challenges that they are facing, because I think that we all are realistic people over here. The realistic challenge facing us right now is that there are developments going up all over, and there's infrastructure being changed virtually overnight, except for here in our area, and we would just like to know, at least be given the courtesy of being informed as to what those reasons are. I will be the first person to say that it was shocking to me as just as a resident when Mr. Marais told me, no, but there's a pole in the road. And for the 9 years that I've been driving past here, I never saw the pole. So just being informed gives you already the option of being able to either, number one, help, or number two, just understand of the challenges that the city of Cape Town is currently going through, or that the contractors are going through. I would like to just conclude by saying that I'm sure that we all over here can appreciate that the fact that this is taking 3 years to get this small little piece of construction sorted out is utterly unacceptable, and it will not fly in any of the other areas that we are surrounded by. So this is our diligence. So like this is our responsibility. The onus is on the residents of Blackheath to actually stand up and to say something. The video over here isn't going to be going so it won't be going viral. It will be purely to just inform the residents of like what's currently going on. So again, I don't think it's a blame game. I think we're just trying to garner a greater understanding.
You have your camera on all the time.
Yes.
Okay.
I think if I can add on to that.
Maybe you must put it on someone else now.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I think if I can add on to it that it's true what Elizabeth said, that the project is hampering and running fairly very long here.
It's 3 years.
It's 3 years now, and if we as a community and stakeholders sit and always blame Eskom and always blame Elizwe and blame all the stakeholders, at the end of the day our question is just as residents, as ratepayers, what is the succession plan? When will this be resolved? What is the way forward now? Because at the end of the day, like Elizabeth said, is that we stay in this area, we go through these challenges, we go through these headaches every single day. I'm scared to drive here 7:30, 8 o'clock. I tend to rather go wherever I need to be late because of this. And for 3 years this is transpiring in front of our doorways. We cannot sit and wait for 3-4 different departments to take hands and then after another 3 years come back and say to the residents, okay, our three decided now to join forces and resolve it. That is also always the issue at the city. When you go to one office at the city, they send you to B, C, D and E. I've got experience in that. I know what I'm talking about. They always will say, go to that department, go to Cape Town, go to Wales Street, go to that street. We don't have the energy for that. We just want a solution. We want a straightforward answer and a solution as to what is the way forward.
May I just also say something? I've never sat on any committees. I'm just a concerned resident. I moved in 1976. Now, if the crossing is the problem, if Buttskop crossing is the problem, number one, number two, the accidents was man-made. The booms were working, the lights were working, the trains, hooters were working. It was man's impatience, arrogance that caused it. So if the crossing is the problem and they want to get rid of the crossing, they've closed that road, a road with a pole, a narrow road as a detour. How is that crossing being made any safe? By doing those things. That is just me as a resident.
That's correct, yeah.
So what has actually been done?
The problem is still the same.
The problem is still the crossing.
Sorry, can I just respond to that? As I said before, sorry, I'm not going to
Okay, it's fine.
video all the time.
It's fine, as long as I can hear you.
I'm uncomfortable because, as I said many times, I've done a lot of work and my department has done a lot of work over the last 3 years to come up with the permanent solution, in other words, the level crossing elimination, and it was never on the cards until 3 years ago when my department and myself took personal responsibility for that. And we've made a massive amount of progress in terms of ultimately eliminating the level crossing because it's cost at least 17 lives, and we are very aware of that. That needs to be done. Having said that, the issues that we discussed here this morning all relate to either network operations, in other words, the safety of the deviation, or the construction work, the construction of the deviation. And it's not a question of blaming, but if you take a sewer problem to the water department, they'll say, sorry, we can't help you. If you take a planning issue to my colleagues at construction, they will say, sorry, we can't help you. And that's why I say we're again talking to the people that's not responsible for this. In other words, what I'm saying is I work for the planning department. I've done a lot of work in terms of resolving the planning. In other words, getting the process going to eliminate the level crossing, and we've made a massive amount of progress there. I don't think you realize how much progress has been made in terms of eliminating this level crossing. But once again, the issues that relate to construction and the issues that relate to operation, once again, you're talking to the wrong people, and I understand your frustration. But then I'm not on management level. I'm a professional engineer. Understand that. I'm not on management level. I'm not even able to have any authority over those departments. So I want to ask the sub-council to please take it up with those departments. I've mentioned it many times at sub-council that sub-council must take up the issue with the relevant department. I'm always at the sub-council meetings, but the colleagues from network operation and network infrastructure, they don't hear your frustrations, and I can't do any more to get your message across to them. So please get your message to them through the sub-council.
Is there any way that we as residents can actually get a hold of them via email or via a phone number, or at least be able to try and get their
the information is with sub-council, so I'm sure if you talk to Councillor Maria, he will be able to refer you. I've given their names at sub-council and those departments at various occasions at sub-council. Sub-council is aware of which is network operation, which is the department which is responsible at those departments, at network operations as well as infrastructure construction.
So the contactable person at sub-council is Mr. Roelof Maree.
No, he's the councillor, but the sub-council manager is Roxanne Moses. I must say she's also a new manager there. She took over probably, I'm not here to explain how the sub-council works, but I know that she's new there. She's only been there about 6 months, so it probably also took her a while to get an understanding of the complications here. And but she will be able to give you that information.
There is a project steering committee of this project.
The project steering committee, there is a project steering committee, but as you can understand, the project steering committee focused on the planning of the project. That's my responsibility. Since then, the project moved into implementation, and since it's now in the implementation stage, the responsible people to manage the issues that relate to construction, and those are the issues that we spoke about, the ESCOM issue, the deviation issue. You can't expect from the
I understand you.
From the planning
I understand.
department. Once again, you can keep on asking those questions. If you don't ask those questions to the appropriate people or management at those departments, and as I say again, I'm a professional engineer. I'm not even a head. I'm not the manager. I'm not a head. So I'm trying my best, but please speak to the right people.
Yeah, we're going to go from one to the other. I understand that your project is the bridge. That is what you are.
Exactly.
So we are not here to ask questions because you had the open day of the bridge. So we're not here to deal about that. What our frustration is, up until the time that the bridge will be built, this will still be happening.
Exactly.
Now I live in James Street, which we did not even get a letter to say. Yeah, which we didn't even get a letter to say. Yeah, now I'm trying to say why we are here. So we didn't get a letter to say the traffic will now come down James Street, and then via Jennifer Street to come in here. Now the ward council is here, and he sits in the sub-council meeting. So I took a count of cars coming down my road 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday morning. 234 cars came out of James Street between 20 to 7 and 20 to 8. And that was when they had already started using that road. I'm sorry that I didn't take a count prior to that rule, because the taxis had already started using this and other motorists. So had they not used this road, that traffic count would have been almost double. Now my concern is that the inconvenience that is happening right now how long is that still going to happen before this is done? Because once this project is completed, it alleviates the traffic from that side to that. So that is my concern, not in terms of who's going to take responsibility. And I appreciate that you're here. But now if I send a letter to the mayoral committee member, she gives it over to her executive support officer. He is then the one to make sure that the right people is here. So the email that I got was from Johan, and hence I said, Johan sent the email and other people were copied in. So that is why I mentioned this, not to say that he's to be blamed for who is not here. Now for us to now go to either planning or traffic, it's not our prerogative to go and find those people. The people up there is supposed to make sure that, so it means that we've now got to again start another thing, because I'm not even sure if you guys are going to give us an answer. We have the consultants here, and my concern also was the fact as a design, I understand that there's consultants that design the thing, and then there's the contractor that is implementing the design. You can see what is going to happen here. So nothing new has been done in terms of what the old thing was. The old route was that you come out of Frederick Street to Stop Street. Here's going to be the same. How has that changed other than just moving it from there? Now, as Joshua said, or I think Rajan said, the accident that happened was bad driving behavior. And we know that you cannot change that bad driving behavior with engineering solutions. So you've only just shifted it and created this that is going to happen here. And Frederick Street is going to, in fact, there's people from Frederick Street saying they don't want the street open, but what they don't realize is Frederick Street is still open. It's just that piece that is closed. But it's still open because people are still going to come down there. Now I understand if Frederick Street residents say, no, but we want the road closed. But that is not going to happen. The road is not going to close. It's still going to be open. Yes, Lynn. Sorry, I'm not the spokesperson here, but I'm...
Yeah, but thanks for putting
here.
it together, Elizabeth. I'm Lynn. I'm from the firm Innovative Transport Solutions, and Johan Meyer is our client, so we were responsible for the original planning and design. In fact, we are responsible for the planning and design of the bridge, and as part of, and it's the whole elimination of the level crossing, and as part of that process, at that time, there was a realization that that is a problem, and there wasn't a short-term solution for it. One of the stopgap measures, almost if I can call it that we've identified as a team is to relocate, realign Frederick Street to this location. It was never meant to be a solution. It was never meant to be the silver bullet that was going to fix anything, but it was, although not perfect, it was better than having all of this traffic coming out there, because that was just too close to the railway line. That added to the problem. And you're right, Elizabeth, we've just moved it on, but to some extent it is better than having this problem adjacent to the railway line. So that is just the one point. So it was never meant to be the solution. The second point is that Eskom, I can't comment on why it is taking so long. I believe the contractor, you've paid the fees already, and it's really, and Carl, you're quite right, Eskom must come and relocate this. But while that is happening, so I can't answer on behalf of the city's project manager that is responsible for managing this construction contract. But I do think what needs to happen as a matter of priority is that the road must physically be closed with New Jersey barriers, and road closure signs be put up so that traffic has, in fact, traffic, you can't enforce anything. There's no sign up to say that you're not supposed to come in here. So I think as a starting point, the contractor must receive a VO to actually install the road closing barriers. That is priority, and physically close the road so that these pipes can't be moved. I don't know how long it's going to take for Eskom to do what they're going to do. It could take a week. I've heard a date of the 23rd. It could take a few months still. But at least then the road is closed, and what we are seeing here today won't happen. It does mean, Elizabeth, that the interim, these streets that you are referring to will still be used as a rat run to get into Buttskop. Now, once Eskom has done what they needed to do, and the road is opened, Johan asked us again to just look at the traffic volumes, look at what can be done. And my recommendation to Johan was that once the road is open, that we actually, in the interim, convert it to a four-way stop until the bridge construction commences, because that is still going to take, I mean, it's going to take 2 years just for the construction.
That was exactly.
And it's going to take 2 years for the construction, and it's going to take
Depending
probably
on funding, and if
another.
there is no funding, it might be longer.
Yes.
Now,
We've secured funding for the, or Johan has secured funding for the detailed design, so we can proceed with that and put together a contract.
So Lynn, you will know, a couple of months ago when we met at the city, I said at the civic center, this is what I said to you, that a two-way stop is not going to work. Now I know that this is in close proximity to there, but if it is a four-way stop, it's much better than now getting cars to force into this one.
So that four-way
but
stop.
we were told no four-way stop, and that is my frustration.
So as an interim measure, a four-way, that is our proposal, a technical proposal for the city to consider. And I can put that, I will submit it via Johan and send to operations, to the various, I think, like quite rightly, like Johan said, it's multiple departments now.
I understand.
The project manager for Eliswe needs to be informed so that we can get a VO issued to the contractor to close, to put up barriers. I don't know if that form part of their traffic accommodation quantities. And secondly, is to put a request to Sean Glass's department, which is operations, to approve an interim four-way stop while the future design process and procurement process of a contractor to actually build the bridge and close all of it.
Sit down. That's what the consultant said, that's what the city said, there's nothing we can do about it. And that is our frustration, because none of you live in this area, I'm sorry to say that. None of you experience what is happening here. So if we have your word now, that this will, instead of a two-way stop, it will be a four-way stop, that is the one thing. The other thing is that we now have to be content with the fact that this is going to be, let's easily say 4 years. Of a diversion until the bridge is completed, okay? But now somebody needs to tell us now who's going to take responsibility of. I don't want to go to a sub-council. I don't want to go to wherever. Sorry, Ruth, I can't know. Just to tell us, morning, how long this will not take, and we don't want to hear depending on who's going to chase Eskom to come and remove this pole. Somebody is going to get on their backs to say, this pole must get out within 10 days, finish and clear. So that this construction, that is all we're saying, kry dat paal uit die pad uit, en of het jou responsibility is, of die consultants, of die city, iemand moet nou verantwoordelikheid daarvoor vat, en dan sê, kry ons die paal uit die pad uit, en dan kan die pad klaar gemaakt word, die four-way stop is in plek, and then we're happy.
But
that is what this meeting is about.
But Hein, if I may ask...
Sorry,
Hein, Paul Fink has put a date down of the 23rd of February.
Pardon?
Paul Fink put a date down of the 23rd of February at the polls being removed. Hein has been dealing with Eskom and he hasn't got a date from them. So I'm a bit hesitant of what's going to actually happen there.
Daryl, so if we say 23rd of February, and let's say it happens, then how long, Hein, will it be to complete this?
Hein, sorry, says, once the poll is done, in 5 working days, they can have this surface prepared and asphalt.
Okay, and the stop street will be in, so what do we add still there?
The road marking will take another couple
So you're
of days.
saying then that you're going to propose to the city, and then how long will that take?
I don't know. I don't know. We can only put a proposal together, and then I don't know, between ITS and ITSO, who will actually do a design for the contractor and issue the quantity.
Okay, jammer, the road
for the road marking.
The road marking has been done. Yeah. Sorry,
okay. From our last sub-council meeting, which was now Monday past, the sub-council chairperson and the sub-council managers actually busy a regular meeting with Mr. Brendan Johnson at his office so that this whole pole situation and the stop street can be sorted out.
Okay. Will you be present at that meeting?
Yes, I will.
How will we get feedback of what the
I will
resolution was
give
at
you
that meeting?
feedback and you can distribute it from
Okay,
there.
will you do it via email for me?
Yes, I will.
So the meeting is taking place when?
By Friday, I will be able to tell you exactly when the meeting is.
By Friday you'll tell me when the meeting is?
Visage will be before the end of next week.
Okay. So this is the sub-council?
Yeah, the sub-council. Mr. Meyer was in the last meeting when the sub-council chairperson said that meeting should be arranged as a matter of urgency.
Okay, so that meeting will take place before end of February,
Yeah.
and you will let us know via email
Yes.
of the outcome of that meeting.
Yes.
And that meeting would concern what is currently happening here.
The pole first of all and the four-way stop.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question about the four-way stop, man? I'm just a bit worried if here's a four-way stop and the cars is piling up here and you see there's a railway line there and maybe the car is piling up and another train is coming and the cars is just is piling up there. So I'm just a bit worried about that. For the consultant maybe.
Yeah, Colin, because that's something you see the proximity from here to the railway line is very short.
Yeah.
But you see the proximity of the traffic light and the railway line is also short.
Yes,
So
yeah.
motorists has got to take note that if the booms is down and the cars is backed up to where the robot is,
Yeah.
they cannot come forward. The same is going to happen here. If you see the booms is down, or you know the light is, then can you yourself
Just
overforce
overforce,
it?
yeah.
Nobody can stand on the railway line. So I don't foresee that to be, it's again just enforcing traffic measures. So I understand that shorter, but motorists will have to be educated and to know. Anders gaan die trein oorlik aan.
Can I just also add to what
Sorry, just Johan, just on that last thing. The other people is obviously the railway people, because this booms from time to time is faulty. So that is also something that needs to. So Lynn, just take that in consideration when you speak. Of julle ook 'n rol of as julle die vergadering.
Ek het in ons laaste sub-council meeting gevra dat van die city se kant af moet hulle het 'n monthly railway safety regulator meeting. Ek het gevra dat ek ook seating kry of ge-invite word na daai meeting toe.
Die persoon dat daar is jou route.
It's network, sorry, it's network operations. It's Sean Glass's department.
Yes.
Portfolio voorsitter.
So ek is besig daarmee op.
Yeah, on the liaison committee, the intermodal planning and liaison committee, where they also liaise with PRASA. It's also the network operations department, for which the director is Mr. Neil Slingers and the manager is Mr. Sean Glass.
Okay.
Just to add on your question, thank you for that, sir. You are quite correct. The distance is quite close, as Elizabeth said, although it's a massive improvement to the way it has been operating. In fact, both accidents that occurred, the one in 2010, which had 10 tragic fatalities, as well as the 2018 one, the vehicles were coming along Frederick Street.
Yeah.
And what happens, that the demand on that approach is even higher, it's just as high as the demand on Buttskop Road. And because they had to wait for a cab, in effect that was priority control, because people in Frederick Street had to stop, and the vehicles in Buttskop Street didn't have a stop. The stop is only at the rail line. So people, or the traffic from Frederick Street didn't have sufficient gaps to get into the traffic stream, and that added to a lot of frustration, which resulted in illegal disregarding traffic rules, and that caused both tragic incidents. And that's why the rail safety regulator has recommended also that the intersection boom be relocated to this location.
Can I just ask you, the next street is the Chantal Street.
Yeah.
Is there any way that Chantal Street can be opened right up until Meadoway?
Dis hierdie veld.
Because that also will eliminate, because this land here is currently Sunral's land.
Yeah.
So I was told that a portion of this land was bought from Sunral to do this. Now Chantal Street, if that can be opened, then people can, instead of having to turn, well there is no road, but instead of having to turn off here, they can turn off any other road. Because Frederick Street was basically the first road to turn right that gets you into Denemere and Kleinvlei. So look at the possibility of...
An answer on that.
Yeah.
It was a joint decision from the entire project management team, including all city departments and everybody, that we keep the, we do not build additional roads or even signalize this intersection because we want to move towards eliminating the level crossing. So we are a bit cautious to extend Chantal Road or any other roads as an interim measure, because the more we spend as interim measures, the more difficult it becomes to do what we ultimately must do, namely to eliminate the level crossing. So we are absolutely positive that as soon as this road is complete and it's open, it will be a massive improvement to what it was before in terms of safety. It will not be a massive improvement in terms of capacity, but it will be an improvement in terms of safety. So we would not at this moment support the idea to change the road network or to extend Chantal Road or anything, because
It is a road, but
Yeah.
it's probably partially tarred and the rest is gravel. I just want to say, I with respect to you said that you slip road for people turning to the left. Is this side of the road wide enough to have cars
Yes,
coming
ma'am.
in and going out, and then a slip road if you want to turn to the left?
There is a single lane coming in on that side.
Single lane here, single lane this side.
And
Okay.
there's three
approach
lanes
will-
on this side here.
it will have a right turn lane
Okay.
and a straight and
And a
through. In other
straight,
words,
okay.
the traffic turning right, which is the higher volume
Yes,
in
of
the
course,
morning
yeah,
peak,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
the critical peak. And in fact, you can't see it now because many people still don't use this
Yeah,
deviation, especially with a lot of people standing
Standing
here.
here, yeah. I mean, it would have
because
been
they
much
know
worse,
it's
yeah.
not formally open
Yeah.
yet. But in terms of the normal traffic flow patterns, there is more people coming from this side than there is coming from that side, or very close to the same number. And for that reason, we did provide a separate right turn lane on this approach to accommodate that movement. It was an informed decision not to signalize this, because the whole approach was to not spend too much on the interim measures, because the more we spend here, the more difficult it becomes to elevate this project for the level crossing elimination.
Sure.
And that's what we're focusing our major attention on from transport planning, is to eliminate the level crossing.
Okay, look, it is 8 o'clock. We said from 7 to 8, so I appreciate. Yeah. So, well, yeah. Maybe should we think of a follow-up meeting?
Sorry, Elizabeth. I called Brendan. He's
Okay.
on his way, but he's in Para, and I don't know.
No, we won't. I mean, it's unfair. We've asked her for an hour. So, but now who will arrange a follow-up meeting? That's the thing, because we have to have the correct people here.
Councillor, I would recommend that through Councillor Maria, that the sub-council, that he asks the sub-council manager to arrange the next meeting, and then on manager level, on manager level make sure that the relevant departments are involved.
Okay, so
I will still speak to my sub-council manager, Roseanne Moses, this afternoon to arrange the follow-up meeting from the sub-council side.
And then also obviously have ESCOM also attend.
Okay. Where shall we have it here again?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you'll contact us. Ja, dankie dat jy
All right, like the green capacity of those days.